This episode,
a snappy fab fact,
a far less snappy voice of the Podsterons,
some news straight from the Bishop,
and we hear from someone who literally pulled the strings.
That's all coming up in Pod 59
of the Gerry Anderson Podcast.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's get started. Let's go.
Spectrum is green.
The Gerry Anderson Podcast with Jamie Anderson and Richard James.
Here we are. It's the Gerry Anderson Podcast. It's Pod 59, Jamie.
Yep.
I know.
Is that significant in any way?
Well, it just takes me by surprise every week that we're still here doing this, and perhaps people are still listening.
I know. In their thousands.
Quite literally,
fact.
yeah. Yes, we know that. So I suppose we ought to introduce ourselves before we go any further. You are?
Jamie Anderson, son of Gerry Anderson and director of Anderson Entertainment, and you are?
Well, I'm Richard James, actor, playwright, novelist, father, husband, uncle, great uncle. I think that just about sums it up.
Yeah, and podcast host.
Yes, and here we are for the Gerry Anderson Podcast. We're here for the next hour and a half or so with all the usual gubbins. That includes Chris Dale's amazing randomizer a little later on, where he sits down in front of an episode from the Gerry Anderson universe and gives us his thoughts and comments. We also have the first of a two-part interview with someone from the Gerry Anderson world, who I know you all will love. And we have, Quickfire 5, of course. And if I missed anything out, the voice of the Podsterons, which is our listeners who've been sending in their emails. And, of course, everybody's favourite, Fab Facts.
Thanks, Richard.
There you go,
Thank
Jamie.
you for not
just for you.
skipping over Fab Facts.
Now, it's interesting you introduce yourself as Jamie Anderson, the son of Gerry Anderson, because, of course, there can be some confusion when you're doing a bit of research for the podcast, as I found out earlier. So Jamie Anderson, we also know, is a female snowboarder.
Yes.
But did you know that Gerry Anderson is also a top vocal impersonator who will take you on a musical journey with impersonations of the greats of our time, including the Rat Pack, Tom Jones, Gene Pitney, and Shirley Bassey?
I absolutely did not know that, but thank you for informing me.
There you go. Yeah, yes, a man of many talents, obviously.
Look at you doing your research.
I know, terrible, isn't it?
That's great. Well, also, Jamie Anderson is a lady country and western songwriter and singer.
Right.
So, and Gerry Anderson is somebody involved in energy and I think transport infrastructure in the US as well. So
Great.
I mean.
Well,
we could carry on and make it an entirely sort of nominative themed
we could
podcast,
do that.
but let's not do that. Do you want to know who the interview is with, Richard? Because we haven't told
I would
listeners.
love... No, please, reveal all.
Although they'll know from the title of the podcast. So it's Mary Turner. It was recently Mary's birthday. But Mary was a sculptor and puppeteer on lots of the Super Mario Nation shows, right from Torchy, I think, onwards. And this interview was recorded by Jamie Griffiths a couple of years ago for the Big Finish Captain Scarlet 50th anniversary box set. And Mary's not a huge fan of doing pieces to camera or interviews and stuff, but Jamie had a really lovely chat with her and she delivered some fantastic nuggets throughout the chat.
Ooh, lovely.
So hopefully you'll enjoy that.
Yeah, great. Well, I will be jumping in my car at some point over the next week to go and see Alan Birkinshaw, who lives in Kingston, I think.
Fantastic.
By the way, if you can hear a noise, I must apologise. I've left my windows open.
And Thunderbirds 6 is flying over by the sound of it.
There he goes. That's right, exactly. So you might hear some extraneous background noise during this podcast, but it's very warm, isn't it, this week? And I think that's fair enough.
It really is.
Yes. Now, in the meantime, you can do us both a huge favour by simply subscribing on whichever platform you're listening to us on. Give us a rating and a review and share us with your friends as well. And if you subscribe, it means you get a notification every time there's a new episode, because we're up to 59 now, and I would hate to think that you've missed any of them. Be a terrible shame.
Yes. Well, we know there's some people who have come late and who've listened to the whole lot, and others who have gone, I'm not listening back to all that.
No, fair enough, to be honest.
Is that a dog now?
Yes, I told you I've left the windows open, so we'll hear all sorts of things. Helicopters, dogs. Yeah, the bin men have been. You'll be pleased to hear.
Brilliant. I can't wait to hear what else is outside your window. Richard, shall we go straight into some rather fab facts?
Let's do that, Jamie.
Okie dokie.
Now, time for this week's Fab Facts.
So you must know the format by now.
You
but if
must,
not,
yes.
Then here's a very, very quick intro. I have a book of fab facts. I'm going to flip through it. Richard will shout fab. I will choose a fact from that spread that we stop on, and then we'll discuss it, debunk it, have a bit of a chat.
Yeah, the usual.
Yeah, that's the sort of thing. So, Richard, I've got the book here. Are you ready?
I'm always ready, Jamie.
Okay, then here we go.
Fab!
Richard, you have stopped us on the spread of page 74 and 75.
Oh, right.
There's actually a rather nice picture of the dear late Richard Gregory building a Stingray model on 75,
Great.
so that's rather nice. But I'm going for the third fact down on page 74.
Third fact down, page 74, right?
And interestingly, I have a slight follow-on fact from this. So, you know Thunderbirds, Richard?
I'm familiar with Thunderbirds, Jamie.
Yeah.
Does ring a bell.
Well, I would say when you ask people what their favourite episode is, there's three in the list.
Oh, yeah.
The opening episode, Trapped in the Sky.
Yes.
Terror in New York City.
Yes.
And Attack of the Alligator.
Of course it is.
Now, but did you know inspiration for the Thunderbirds episode Attack of the Alligators came from the H.G. Wells book Food of the Gods and the Bob Hope film The Cat and the Canary?
What?
Yeah, now that story was written by Alan Patillo.
Yeah.
And it was basically a food additive gets spilt, food additive that's supposed to, stop famine and all sorts by making supersize fruits and vegetables and crops.
Yes.
And it ends up causing alligators to ingest it in a lake, and they all get enormous.
Of course.
And it's a big disaster. So that was written by Alan Patillo. Another writer on Thunderbirds was Dennis Spooner, who did a lot of sci-fi at the time, including Doctor Who and other. Did he do Space 1999?
I don't know.
Anyway, he did lots of Anderson stuff and lots of sci-fi at the time. But he then went on, and inspired by Attack of the Alligators, he wrote an episode of The New Avengers, episode 13, I believe, called Gnaws.
Right.
Gnaws.
Okay.
About, well, it's the same central plot thing about a chemical causing an animal to become giant, but in this case it was a rat.
Ah.
So, Alan Patillo borrowed from H.G. Wells.
Yes.
And then Dennis Spooner borrowed from Thunderbirds and Alan Patillo.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Now, that really also, this whole thing kind of taps into that 60s, 70s paranoia about science running away with us.
Absolutely.
And unintended consequences. A little bit, it's still with us now, isn't it, with GM crops and so on, and the genome projects and all this sort of stuff. And But absolutely, lots of films about things overgrowing their size and, normally placid animals becoming, vicious. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, how interesting.
I know. Well, but I mean, do you not think that sort of concern over science and where it might lead is at the very centre of almost all science fiction?
Yes.
I mean, Space 1999, the whole premise really is science gone wrong.
Yeah.
UFO and all the kind of stuff around harvesting organs, that kind of tension and concern around the times of the first heart transplant. And that kind of thing.
Yes, interesting. Yeah, it's true.
So, yeah, it's pretty central. But also the fact that so many of these ideas are borrowed, recycled, reimagined, reformed.
Yeah.
And nothing's ever truly new, is it?
No, of course not. No, that's right. No new ideas under the sun. No, that's true.
There you go. So I love that.
Yeah.
That fact.
Well
now,
done.
Richard, we are running into a slight problem.
Are we? What, do you want me to go? That's it, is it? That's my notice.
That would be great. Please go. No. Now, Fab Facts is a great book.
It is.
But a lot of the facts are, whilst fab, they're not that exciting.
Sure.
I mean, let me give you another quick fab fact as a bonus here.
Yes.
1 half-hour episode usually consisted of an average of 250 individual scenes.
Okay.
For example.
Yeah.
I mean, it's...
Some of the puppets had strings, that kind of thing.
Thunderbird 2 was green. I mean, these are the kind of facts that make up quite a lot of the book, which are great for the very, very casual viewer, but they may not fascinate our listeners. So,
Yes.
listeners, we are going to start straying out from the book
Ah, yes.
and try and bring you fab facts from beyond fab facts.
Great. Yeah.
So, something to look forward to.
Yeah, I like that.
So sometimes we will refer back to the book. Other times, Richard and I will come up with something.
Great.
But they'll always be true. They'll
Of
always
course.
be facts. We're not
Of course.
doing fab fibs.
No, we're not doing Fab Fibs. That's something entirely different.
It is. So, yes. Anyway, okay, so that brings us very neatly to the end of this week's
Fab Fact.
Facts. Great.
Yes, fine.
I mean, it'll be a bit sad to leave the book behind, but
I know. But I suppose we were always going to outgrow it, weren't we? Because,
Yeah.
every week's a different fact and...
life moves on.
Life moves on, Jamie. How very wise you are. Yeah, indeed. You're listening to the Gerry Anderson Podcast. We're here for a bit longer. Do stay with us. We know we have listeners all over the world, and many thousands of you will be hearing from you in just a few moments' time. When we get to
All thousands of you.
Yes, that's right. The voice of the Podsterons. And, of course, stay tuned for the interview with Mary Turner and Chris Dale's Randomiser. And is there anything else I've forgotten? Oh, there, of course I forgot. Quick fire facts, Jamie. Right, are you ready for these? Here come your quick
really?
fire facts. Now, today we're talking about names. So, favourite Allens, Thunderbirds Alan Tracy or Space 1999's Alan Carter?
Carter.
Favourite Jacks, Space Precinct's Jack Haldane or Four Feather Falls' Little Jack?
Haldane.
Sam's, Joe 90's Sam Louver or Firestorm's Sam Scott?
Sam Scott.
Paul's, UFO's Paul Foster or Captain Scarlet's Paul Metcalf?
Oh, Paul Metcalf.
Of course. And finally, favourite Lizzie's, Space Precinct's Liz Brogan or Lavender Castle's Tin Lizzie?
Oh. Sorry, Liz. Tin Lizzie.
It's got to be. Well done. There you go.
Interesting, Richard.
Yeah.
Now, we have actually, annoyingly, once again, had some quickfire 5 crossover, so I'm going to have to
Yeah,
amend
it does
mine.
happen.
So thanks for that.
Sorry. You should have gone first, shouldn't you?
I feel
Should have
like
gone
I'm
in
getting
quick.
better at those, actually.
Yeah. It's
into
interesting
my-
looking up people's first names. I was convinced that Haldane's first name was Eddie, funnily enough. That must have been
It was in an early
original
script.
Yeah. That'd be it.
In fact, I tell you what, I think it's in. There's a recut trailer where they filmed some new sequences, crossed it over with the Space Police stuff from the 80s, but with actors that never got into the actual show, and Chloe Annette as Castle, and Ed Bishop doing the narration. And it was still, I think, then he was saying Lieutenant Chuck Brogan and his partner Eddie Haldane.
Oh,
I'm pretty sure that's where it's come from. So
that's right. Yes. Yeah. There you go.
anyway, pointless extra little fact there. Hope you enjoyed that, listeners. Dear oh dear. Richard, do you want to do your famous, now very famous, Twitter countdown now, or would you like some news? It's up to you.
Well, let's have some news first. Now, I've strayed off the path a little bit because actually I'm heading over to YouTube to glean some comments from YouTube for the top 5 countdown. So let's have a bit of news, and then we'll have a few YouTube comments afterwards.
Fine. Well, in that case, it's the Gerry Anderson News.
Hooray!
Go on, Richard, say it.
There's brand new stuff. No, what is it I say? I can't remember now.
You say newsy news.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Could you say
Don't
that?
put that in. That's embarrassing.
No, I'm putting that in.
Oh, newsy news.
Thank you very much. This is exactly what I wanted. Now, we mentioned in our this episode intro some news from the Bishop.
Oh, yes.
Well,
what's that
here
about?
it is.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you know, the Secret Service, Richard.
Of course.
One of your all-time favourite Super Mario Nation series of 1969.
Yeah. That's true. Not much choice, but yes.
No. Well, it's the 50th anniversary this year, and there's not much Secret Service merch around. There were some novelisations in the late 60s, early 70s.
Were there?
There was, I've got one, I think.
I'd quite like to read that. That's interesting.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
I'll send it to you.
Great.
There was a Dinky Gabriel toy.
Of course. Lovely.
Dinky 109, I think, maybe.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I'm sure listeners will correct me. And not much else. And obviously there's been a DVD. But that's it. So we're trying to correct that. And our very first thing to correct that, and after a lot of demand from you guys out there, is a Secret Service 50th anniversary poster. Put together by our marvellous friend Eric Chu, who's done all those wonderful posts in the past.
Yeah, lovely.
It looks fantastic. There will...
Sorry, it's just screaming children.
I thought it was a chicken outside your window. Sort of with the distortion, it sounded like... So if you want to see that, there's a preview on the Gerry Anderson store and on the Gerry Anderson website. But also, another place you can see a preview of it is in our very, very first weekly Gerry Anderson briefing, which you can find on the YouTube channel.
A weekly Gerry Anderson briefing?
I know. I mean, it's not as if we don't generate any content at all.
No,
really,
that's right.
For our Podsterons and fans and subscribers on the YouTube channel. But we wanted to find a way to, first of all, let you see the team, let you meet the team week by week.
Oh.
Yeah, sorry, Richard, I haven't told you about this yet. But also to find a way to concentrate all the news from each week and everything that's going on, give you some recommendations and stuff down into sort of a 5-minute video. So I've done the first one. It's up now on the Gerry Anderson YouTube channel with a rather amusing thumbnail of Barbara Bain looking frightened at seeing my face at a screen. And in the coming weeks, you're going to hear from lots of other members of the team, AC, Randomiser King himself, Chris Dale.
Oh, yeah.
Chris Thompson, Ross Arrowsmith.
Wow.
Richard James.
Who's he? He sounds very interesting.
I've heard he's very talented, devilishly handsome. So viewers will be looking forward to that one. Anyway, so you'll be hearing from us or seeing us and hearing from us every week on a Friday lunchtime. So if you want to catch up with what's going on, haven't had time to look at the podcast or want to see our faces, then head over to the Gerry Anderson YouTube channel, youtube.com/Gerry Anderson TV. Hit subscribe, hit the little bell so you get notified, and then every time there's a video up, you'll get an alert.
Exciting.
That's cool.
Please tell me, though, that you're not calling them Gerry Anderson briefs.
No, we went for the ings.
So
good.
Glad to
Gerry
hear
Anderson
it.
brief ings. Everything's
good.
fine. Now, funnily enough, Richard, you know when Thunderbird 6 passed by your window a short time ago?
Yes.
Well, Chris Thompson a while ago did a very nice set of inspired by Thunderbirds t-shirts, but we never got round to doing the Thunderbirds 6 t-shirt. Well, now we have.
Lovely.
A lovely yellow t-shirt with a Thunderbird 6 inspired design is now available from the Gerry Anderson store, so go and grab that. Just search 6 inspired, number 6 inspired. And finally, on that sort of store note, we had a massive sale this weekend just gone.
Oh, I noticed that. Crikey.
It was a bit crazy. I mean, on
having
the
a clear
first
out.
day, loads of stuff sold out, and I know some people are slightly disgruntled. I'm very sorry about that, but that is the nature of these stock clearance things. Now, if you want to make sure you're the first to know next time, either join the Podsterons Facebook group, because you get little exclusives over there, don't they, Richard?
They do indeed.
Exclusive
Yes.
stuff.
That's right.
So that's facebook.com/groups/Podsterons. But preferably make sure you subscribe to the Gerry Anderson newsletter.
Yeah.
You can do that from, the Gerry Anderson website. On the right-hand side, there's a little subscription box. Just head there, or just search Gerry Anderson newsletter on Google, and you'll go to a page where you can sign up there.
Yeah.
Easy peasy. And if you've not done that, then what are you thinking?
Yes, absolutely. Why are you even here?
Why
I mean, don't go.
Please stay. But yeah. Anyway, that is the end for now, I think, unless you've got anything, Richard, of this week's Gerry Anderson news.
That was the news. That was the news.
Now you
there we are.
You looked a bit like you wanted to add something in. Do you want to?
Well, now
postscript.
Well, it's another loss, I'm afraid. It's Jeremy Kemp, an act called Jeremy Kemp, who you might well know from lots of stuff. I think he was Mycroft to Jeremy Brett's Sherlock Holmes, I believe, and also, famously, Captain Picard's brother, Robert Picard, in Star Trek Next Generation, and also, I think, in an episode of Space 1999, Series 1. Died this week. Actually, talking of that, we do have another message here. So let's move on to our Facebook group. Now, as Jamie mentioned, you can join in all the fun. People are always posting on our Facebook group, and we love to see their pictures and their fan art and their quizzes that they run for each other. It's lovely. There was a message there from Steve Hall. Steve Hall said, when I was a boy growing up in the 60s, the main competition with Gerry Anderson series for my TV viewing affection were those of Irwin Allen, like Time Tunnel and Lost in Space. And I was sad to learn today that David Hedison, who played Captain Lee Crane of the wonderful submarine Seaview, has passed away, but a good long innings at 92. I think also famously he played Felix Leiter in the early Bond movies. He said, I ended up working in the marine science and technology sector, inspired by the likes of Stingray, Thunderbird 4, Skydiver, Seaview and her flying sub. I've been a lucky boy to get to work with real-life submarines, albeit mostly of the robot variety, and I thank Gerry and Irwin Allen for the steer. Isn't that lovely? We love messages like that, don't we? People being inspired to pursue their careers and passions because of stuff they've seen on TV. It's lovely.
And we hear it all the time, and I hope we will keep hearing it.
Yeah. Rebecca Andrews posted on our Facebook group, calling all Thunderbirds experts, bit of a silly question, sorry in advance, but is there a preference for episode order, i.e. broadcast versus production? This is for Thunderbirds, thank you in advance, but also could apply to many of the series, I suppose, that were shown in different orders to those in which they were produced. Yeah. What's your view on that, Jamie? Does it matter?
I think it's whatever order you enjoy. I mean, for the most part, they weren't, connected episode to episode for the very reason that they would probably be, the broadcast order would be altered. In fact, Richard, would you like a sub-fab fact or a fab sub-fact?
I would love one, yes.
Now, I can't remember exactly which rerun it was on. I think the 2000s rerun of Thunderbirds. I could be wrong. But that was shown completely out of order because in whatever year there were several train crashes and disasters. There were 2 stories in Thunderbirds centering around train-related disasters, and so the BBC elected to move those to the end of the run, and so Attack of the Alligators was brought forward quite some way to be shown in their place.
I see.
So that's related to Attack of the Alligators, but
yes.
For the most part, there were no connecting arcs across the shows because it was just accepted. It's not like now when you go on Netflix and binge an entire series or something, and there's a big arc over the whole thing, and there are little mini sub arcs crossing episodes. So I really don't think it matters too much. And then think about Space 1999, characters would, even within a series, disappear for several weeks at a time. Simmons would just vanish, and then he's like, he's there again. And now they're going to kill him. Right. Where was he the whole time? So, I think people get a bit hung up about it, but just watch them in the order you enjoy.
Yeah, and finally, Jamie, the whole world is talking about your bins. Well, let me just give you this. Isabel Saucier posted on the Facebook group. Jamie, I'm not sure if it's possible where you are, but here at the Farmette, we have to roll the trash and recycling bins out quite a way and uphill. Sounds familiar? And what we do is we put them in the tractor's front loader. So if you have a tractor, that might be a solution. And then she says in brackets, so now you know that at least one person listened until the end of the podcast.
Thank you very much.
So what's the latest, Jamie?
Well, it's good news, actually. We had a letter last week to say that the council have rolled back
your
and
bins,
suspended their plans for new bin collection locations. Everything's back to how it was.
The nation can rest.
And exactly, they admit that it was a poorly thought out and poorly rolled out plan.
Fantastic.
And so everything is okay. So. Yeah, Podsterons, thank you for all your well wishes, your cards,
prayers and hugs and thoughts.
Yeah, we really appreciate it, but no, everything's okay.
Another win for the podcast. All we have to do now is sort out Brexit and the Middle East problem, and we're sorted.
Well, global warming and
obviously, yes, that's on the to-do list.
But we'll get there. One step at a time, Richard.
One small step at a time, yes.
Okay, Richard.
Oh no, right.
That means it's time for your quickfire 5.
Come on, ready for it.
With a hastily amended one because you stole one of mine, pretty much.
Sorry.
Okay, episode lengths, 30 or 45 minutes.
Oh, 45 minutes.
Tracy Brothers, Gordon or Alan?
Oh, Gordon.
Boffins, Brains or Bergman?
Oh, Bergman.
Very good. Really annoying pets, Stingray's Oink or XL5's Zuni?
Now, Stingrays? I'll have to go for Zuni. That's the only one I actually know.
Oh, Oink was a seal that was dropped after the first few episodes.
Oh, that sounds awful. Yeah, I'll go for Oink, definitely.
And finally, Mysterons or Podsterons?
Podsterons.
Very nice. What if the Podsterons are, in fact, Mistron replacements?
I hadn't even considered that. Do you think that might be a thing? No, I've got to.
Some of them, yes.
Yeah, I've got to say Podsterons are not Mistrons because the Podsterons write in. We never hear from the Mistrons.
They're not terribly communicative, are they?
No, they haven't written, they haven't phoned.
So Oink, Richard,
Yes.
was Marina's pet seal. And I haven't watched an episode containing Oink for some time, but he kind of just went, Oink, Oink, Oink.
Was that Mark Silk back in the room? Uncanny.
I mean, yeah, watch out, Mark Silk. I'm coming for your animal impersonation jobs. I'm not. But Oink was kind of pointless and annoying and just bobbed up and down on a string.
Right.
It was a bit ugly, in my humble opinion. So I'm pretty sure they kind of wrote him out fairly soon into the series.
I see. Oh, I must have a look. Are there any pictures of him? Any surviving pictures of Oink?
Oh yeah, if you just search Oink Stingray, you'll see all sorts of goodies.
Great, I look forward to that.
Podsterons, did you like Oink?
I
don't know.
There might be a poll in the offing, Jamie.
I would love a yes. Yes, Oink or no Oink.
Yeah, okay, we'll do that.
That'd be great. Right, Richard, I think it's time for your YouTube countdown, if you're ready for that.
Here we go. Yes, so we do have some messages over on Twitter. Of course, I should just mention before we get to the YouTube comments that you can hashtag us on Twitter and follow us on Twitter, and we will see any messages you post there. So do hashtag us Gerry Anderson Podcast, or contact Jamie, I'm Jamie Anderson, or me, Richard N. James, and we'll see your tweets and so on. But in the meantime, over to YouTube.
5.
GeoHar3 said, I was completely fascinated with Captain Scarlet from the very early 70s. My friends gathered in my home in southwest Philadelphia, PA, and when the theme song started, we'd do a dance, sort of like the twist, and then the lot of us would launch into the air, then fall to the floor in places to watch the show, or fling ourselves to the floor when the captain survives the machine gun and fires his pistol at us.
4.
In fourth place, Trevor Random said, Space 1999 Series 1 is the best in my opinion. Is it true that Maya's makeup was made from Rice Krispies or Cocoa Pops?
Oh, I don't think it was, actually.
Neither of those.
We think it was made from a sort of sticky tape with pieces of nylon underneath it.
Oh,
allegedly.
I see.
Something like that, anyway.
3.
Number 3. Ride Your Bike said, thanks to the design creations of Derek Meddings and Mike Trim, I became inspired as a little boy to build models and became interested in all things engineering. I spent 42 years working for Martin Baker in research and development testing for new designs of aircraft.
2.
Megan said, thank God this is not Fab Live after listening to the last podcast. The thought of you boys half naked is more than slightly frightening.
1.
And finally, in number 1 spot, it's Darren Lodge over on YouTube who said, never mind Spectrum is green, the Gerry Anderson Podcast is gold.
Oh,
Hey,
nice.
That's all right, isn't it?
Yeah. That's
I like that.
Nice.
That could be our slogan.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you want to use that from now on?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
Look forward to the T-shirts.
Well, I'm sure
And the
we saw
mugs.
a T-shirt. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, lovely.
Yes, that's great. Thanks for that. Yeah, very good. So yes, do get in touch with us. Remember, you can follow us on YouTube. I know that it's of course a podcast. You can find it in all the usual places like Spotify and Apple Podcasts and all those sort of weird places. But also, Jamie puts them up on YouTube every week. Very easy to find us there. I think they're all there, all the way back from our prequel episode, all 59 of them. So you can listen to them there.
They are, all of them. And lots of people just like to listen to stuff on YouTube, which is fair enough.
Yes.
So enjoy
Yes,
it
that's
there.
right. Yeah.
Now, Richard,
Yes.
I've got a weird feeling that something creepy is happening imminently.
Chris Dale hasn't come round, has he?
That's a bit later.
Oh, I see. Yes. Oh, you must mean the...
This is the voice of the Podsterons.
I couldn't even hold it in this time.
No,
well,
there we go.
that ridiculous intro means it's time for the voice of the Podsterons.
Yes, jolly good.
Also known as listener emails.
Yeah.
So, shall I read you one?
Yeah, go on, let's hear it.
I've got one from a new listener, Bruce.
Oh, we love new listeners.
Bruce says, Dear Podrunners. I really like that intro, that name actually.
Yeah, that's great, isn't it?
He says, in June 2019, I upgraded my phone contract and got Spotify bundled in.
Right.
Good for you, Bruce. Mm-hmm. On the first evening, I discovered the Gerry Anderson Podcast.
Oh, I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, sorry. My twisted personality would not let me try the latest pod. I had to hear them all. I have listened day and night, in the dark, in the car, on the train with only Aldi crisps to sustain me through the times when my faith waved. Today, I have finally caught up.
Hooray!
Now I can return those phone calls, see if I have any friends and family left talking to me, with plenty in the past and new stuff to come. Keep it up.
Oh, great. Oh, thanks, Bruce. Well, how lovely to have you with us.
Yeah, Bruce. I mean, thank goodness you found us now and not at Pod 200.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, that's
you definitely would not have had any friends, family, or anything still talking to you, and who knows what state you'd be in. But yeah, welcome along.
Do you think, when you come across the Gerry Anderson podcast now, do you think it's a bit like, coming into season 3 of The Walking Dead and just thinking, I'm not going to join in now, I've got to watch them all, I think I'll leave it? Or do you think actually it's a chance to go back and listen to the whole of our back catalogue?
I'd probably go back and listen, I think. Yeah, I mean, rather season 3 of The Walking Dead than season 2 of Space 1999. That's what I'm saying.
That's true. I have an email here from Robin Bedward, who says, hello, J-Mard and Richie, so as to avoid the who goes first problem. Okay, it's a novel solution. After writing to you in pod 47, which seems an age ago now, I've just finished pretending to listen to the Secret Service reboot, Which Won't Happen, starring Ian McShane. Your idea, Jamie.
It was, yes.
I imagine, he says, it's fantastic.
Thanks very much.
I have a pair of questions concerning Chris Dale's randomizer. Unfortunately, he says, I've not yet listened to all the podcasts, so I'm sorry if these questions have already been answered on the show. Firstly, is the original 2003 anime version of Firestorm in the randomizer?
No.
Ah, there you go. And secondly, are the two Dick Spanner stories split up in the original 6-minute episodes or lumped together?
Lumped together.
And thank you for the podcast. He says it's good to see you're still putting up new material on iTunes, even after iTunes closed down. Apparently, the podcast is unstoppable.
For now, at least.
Yes, we will survive even iTunes. We're like the cockroach of the podcast world, aren't we?
Yes, maybe.
So what's happened to iTunes then? They've just renamed things.
Well,
and put things in
iTunes,
different...
the app has gone, and it's now Apple Podcasts and Apple other stuff, and I don't know. But we're Apple Podcasts, we have to say now rather than iTunes.
Yeah, sure.
I have one from Paul Hyde.
Oh, yeah?
Well, hello, Jamie and Richard. Thank you for the shout out about 3 pods ago. Well, that's probably more now because this is slightly delayed.
Yes.
You always asked your guests what made them get into Gerry Anderson shows. Well, as I was growing up, while the moon landings were going on, I remember watching it on TV. At the time, my brother was just born as Thunderbirds was starting in London back in 1965. I love everything to do with space. Love Stingray, Thunderbirds, Scarlet, and sorry, Jamie, the little nipper Joe 90. And of course, Space 1999. Over the years, I've met many people who made the shows. So great. And I also met your father at Plan B in London. I was running late and I nearly knocked your dad flying. It was not until much later in the day, when your dad came out to meet his fans, I thought, oh no, that was Gerry Anderson. Oh, the shame of it. I felt very bad about it. Anyway, thanks for doing such a great job. Loving the podcast. Yours and Paul Hyde. Thanks, Paul.
Great, I love that. They're literally bumping into someone. I bet there's a few listeners out there. Have you got a story of literally bumping into someone famous without realising who they were, and only after you bumped into them you went, oh no, that was Ian McKellen, or whoever it might be?
The time I stepped on Angela Rippon, isn't it? Anyway, that's for another podcast.
Okay, fine. Right, well, how about this one then? I have a nearly 2,000-word email from Simon White. So are you ready for this?
I think so. Let's try it.
I'm going to take a deep
luck.
breath, right? Dear sirs, I'm avoiding the whose name comes first argument here. I've been listening to the Gerry Anderson podcast since pod 1 and have found them absolutely fascinating in pod 5 when I watched the rerun of Thunderbirds during its first renaissance in the early 90s. After watching the pilot episode Trapped in the Sky, I was absolutely taken hook, line and sinker, being in complete awe of the level of scope and action plus the awesome music. Thunderbirds 2004. Whilst I was running the Lee Valley Half Marathon, and it really helped me get through it. I always thought that she and Ron Cook as Parker were very much the only rays of light in an otherwise dismal movie. It was a real waste.
Come on, Richard. You can do it. You're almost there. Come on.
Okay.
I know you can do this.
All right. Now, there's a question here to Richard. Why was peanut butter so hard to find on planet Altor? It's not a valuable commodity. Simon, I don't know.
I've got an idea,
perhaps.
Richard.
Go on, Jamie.
I
Help me
think
out.
there was a system-wide virus that affected the peanut crops of all the planetary systems around Altor, and so it has to be shipped in from way off world, which makes it really expensive.
Right, thank you. There's your answer. Thanks for entertaining my waffle. I've probably asked enough questions to make up an entire pod. Thank you for answering them. FAB PWOR SIG 1010 SPA.
Richard, are you all right there?
I need water. Give me water.
You did very well to make it through that.
Wow. Thank you very much for that, Simon. We did actually read through the entire email. Very interesting and fascinating it was too, but obviously we don't have that much time on a single podcast.
Yeah, we just can't include the really, really long ones. So, Podsterons, if you do want to write in, do us a favour and keep it short and sweet.
Yes, then we might just read them out.
As much as we love to hear your thoughts, we just don't have time to read kind of the full things, but we do read them.
Yeah, great.
Thanks for that. We enjoyed it. And Richard, a valiant effort.
Thank you so much. Can I have a rest now?
You absolutely can. If you would like to write us an encyclopedic email at any point, or not, ideally keep it short for us, then drop us a line, podcast@gerryanderson.co.uk, and we'd love to hear from you. Make sure you tweet us, hashtag Gerry Anderson Podcast. You can tweet me, I'm Jamie Anderson, or Richard N. James.
That's it.
We'd love to see your tweets, and they might make Richard's top 5 tweets or YouTube comments or Instagram comments countdown or whatever he's doing this week.
Yeah. Who knows?
Now, Richard, we've had some nice stuff from our Podsterons, so we have some nice stuff from an interviewee.
Oh, that would be lovely, yes.
Excellent. Well, let's go to Mary Turner then. Mary, like we said earlier on, worked on most of the Super Mario Nation puppet shows of the Anderson era. She did sculpting, building puppets, operating them. She is one of the lesser sung heroes, not unsung, but lesser sung heroes of that era.
Yeah.
So it's only right that we hear from her. She's not a big fan of doing interviews, so we're very, very lucky that we've got so many bits and pieces in this interview that was recorded by Jamie Griffiths. So without further ado,
I'm Mary Turner, and I was concerned in the making of Captain Scarlet as well as all the other series. I was involved in the puppet department, making the heads and then working the puppets and overseeing the puppet department. I worked on Thunderbirds and going back to Stingray and all the series before that. Well, not Twizzle, that was before my time. I came in on Torchy.
But Mary has been involved with puppetry all her life. So how did this lifelong passion start?
Yes, my mother started it really just after the war. She was looking for, she was an artist, but she was looking for a different hobby to do. And there was a puppetry class starting up in the local polytechnic, and she decided to have a go at that. And she gradually built up a show that we could take around to schools and parties and things like that, just locally. And so that's where I started. And then there was a puppet guild that was very good at that time. We joined that and got to know other puppeteers. And there were things on television, puppet things on the television, and we did actually go into a couple of shows. Someone we knew asked us to go into them for children, just odd things, magazine type shows for children. And then I knew that the film company had started up because I knew Christine from the Puppet Guild. And after Twizzle, they were looking for more puppeteers. And she said, would I like to go for an interview? So that's how I started in.
And so Mary started on a 12-year-long career working for AP Films and Century 21. But she wasn't quite the longest-standing puppeteer overall.
Christine Glanville was there just a bit longer than me because she actually worked on Twizzle. But she worked right to the end as well.
But how exactly do you make a Super Mario Nation puppet? Mary briefly explains the process.
When we first started out, we modelled the heads in clay, which was coarser than plasticine, really. And then they had to be cast in this horrible rubber stuff that had to be boiled up and stank the place out, called Vinamold, I think it was. And that was all we could use until the cold cure rubber came in somewhere during the series, which was, of course, much better.
Mary was also responsible for some of the iconic looks and character designs of the puppets. How did that process work?
Sylvia Anderson was in charge of the creating the characters, and she would oversee us when we were making the new models. And sometimes she wanted them based on different characters, live-action characters, and sometimes we would just let go and create our own. One of the characters I created was Lady Penelope, and Sylvia was very interested in that character, being the first major woman really in the series. And Sylvia would come in and look at it and wanting little bits altered here and there, and till eventually it became looking like Sylvia Anderson herself.
Now, we all know that Gerry Anderson series can be somewhat explosive, but did this ever present a danger to the puppeteers?
A lot of that was done away from the puppet studios, the exploding cars and vehicles and all that sort of thing. But there was a bit going on the stage too. One bad thing was when there had to be a lot of smoke, and it wouldn't be allowed these days, but they burnt oily rags, which of course were down below us, and all the smoke was coming up around us. It wasn't very nice, but of course it was all right in those days.
Mary and the team of puppeteers at AP Films and Century 21 were responsible for bringing those amazing Supermarionation characters to life. But what about the technicalities? How are the puppets controlled? And what extra equipment was needed to bring them to life so beautifully? Mary explains.
The head has 3 strings, or I should say wires, coming from the head, one in the front, 2 at the back, and then it has 2 eye strings as well. The mouth was controlled with a solenoid. Yes, we had exactly what the camera was seeing, not in the early days of the series, but by the time we'd got to Stingray or those earlier ones, we had a screen and it saw exactly what the camera was shooting. And because we were behind the camera, or rather I should say in front of the camera, the screen that we were looking at had to be reversed. Otherwise it was back to front to us.
But of course it wasn't just Mary up there on the puppet bridge. It could get quite busy.
Well, it could be just 2, and it could be, I don't know, quite a lot more. If there was a crowd scene, then each puppet, as much as possible, had one person working it. So the bridge was quite strong.
We also wondered if there were any puppets that were particularly difficult to work with, but Mary said no.
They were all quite similar, really. Sometimes somebody's neck didn't turn as well as other ones, but you tried to get that corrected by people in the workshop if that was so.
Now, a topic that is often hotly debated amongst fans and those that worked on the series is whether the progression from the Thunderbirds and Stingray era of the enlarged, proportioned heads through to the Captain Scarlet, Joe 19 Secret Service era of true human proportioned puppets was successful or not, and which was better to work with. Now, as a puppeteer, Mary has a unique insight into this, and here's how she felt about that transition from the puppets of the Thunderbirds era to those of the Captain Scarlet era.
I enjoyed working on Thunderbirds very much. When it came to Captain Scarlet, I wasn't that keen on the puppets being human proportions instead of the puppet type characters. But that was what we were required to do, so we did it. I know that the directors were always heading towards live action anyway, so I suppose that was part way of getting there. Yes, it was really quite different from Thunderbirds. I would have preferred to go on in the Thunderbird theme, but that's what we were asked to do. So it was interesting because it was different, I suppose. It was more difficult to make the puppet heads, of course, because they were that much smaller. And so even more patience was needed because they had to be very smooth, because on the screen they would be very much enlarged up. Not only the heads were more difficult to make, they were difficult to work as well, because whereas the strings, the wires came down on something like Lady P into a larger head, these were small, so you had to work turning the heads and all that sort of thing from a small base. And that was much more difficult, of course, when the wires were about 8 foot long.
But despite these frustrations, Mary stuck with Century 21 until the end of the puppet era in 1969, when the Secret Service was cancelled early by Lou Grade after just 13 episodes. Obviously, in that time, Mary had built up a wealth of experience and knowledge. So what did she do afterwards?
When the puppets finished, John Reed and I had a partnership, and we went on to make young children's films, Rupert Bear and a few others like that. Nothing on the scale of Thunderbirds or any of those, of course, because there was no money, we were told. And it was for young children, so they wouldn't put so much money into it.
So all these years later, having been so important and essential in the production of shows like Thunderbirds and Captain Scarlet, Stingray, Fireball XL5, and even Joe 90, how does Mary feel about their enduring success and the fact that we're still talking about them all these years later?
In a way, it's nice that it's still remembered. I mean, when we were making it, we never dreamt that it would go on like this. In those days, programmes just were made and just disappeared, and no more was heard of them. But it's kept on coming and being revived, and goes on and on. Often there's in quiz shows they get questions to do with Thunderbirds, so everyone is supposed to know about it now.
We hope you enjoyed that short and sweet segment with Mary Turner. The interview is conducted by Jamie Griffiths, and we thank him and Big Finish Productions. That interview is featured as part of the Captain Scarlet 50th Anniversary Collector's Box Set, which you can pick up now from bigfinish.com or from shop.gerryanderson.co.uk. What a nice and softly spoken Lady Mary is.
Yeah, lovely. Always nice to hear from the people who were there, isn't it? You know, it's great to have our celebrity fans, of course, but the people who are actually there working with these things, it's always really lovely to hear from them.
You can't reduce any of these shows really to any part. Everybody was pretty much essential. And obviously people like Mary and Christine Glanville and Judith Shutt were essential, because without them, the characters wouldn't be brought to life via operation or by actually being sculpted and built in the first place. I mean, these guys were responsible for creating the iconic looks of those puppets, and Mary in particular was responsible for Lady Penelope, which, you know, one of the most recognisable puppet faces of the Anderson era, I would say.
Yeah, that's right. No, it really is a collaborative effort. I mean, I remember on Space Precinct, those of us that played the aliens and had our remote-controlled eyes and so on, each of us, of course, had our own operator who would stand behind camera with their remote control box and make us blink and frown and all that sort of stuff. And it always felt like a collaborative process. We were building the character together, and I'm sure it was much the same in those early series as well with the marionettes. I can absolutely imagine that.
You could tell the way people were puppeteering. You know, they had almost a specific movement and level of arm movement and type of head rock and that kind of thing. So very
yes, how funny. That's great. Yeah, how lovely. And always nice to hear. You said, you did mention that the likes of Mary often are a little backward at coming forward with their thoughts on camera and on the microphone and so on. So it's nice to have grabbed them while we could.
Absolutely.
To hear from them. Because not everyone likes the sound of their own voice, do they,
Jamie?
Jamie?
Can't imagine that, but...
I know, right. Funny that, isn't it?
Very good. Right, do you want to let Chris in, or shall I?
Well, you let him in, because I've done enough work today reading out that long email, I think.
Chris, it's time for the randomizer. Can you come in, please? Chris!
Oh, this is all I needed. Oh, hello, everyone. Yes, bit of a bad start to today, unfortunately. You see...
Did you realise, sir, that you were exceeding the speed limit?
Were we really? Gosh, what an exciting, if somewhat implausible development, considering we're only driving a moon buggy.
Well, you will be reported for the question to be considered of prosecuting you for exceeding the speed limit.
Uh-huh. Don't worry, Marina, I know exactly how to get out of this. It never fails.
You're not obliged to say anything unless you wish to do so, but what you say may be put into writing and used in evidence.
Quite so, quite so. Well, perhaps if I could request you kindly, Bold, for you to press the button on the remarkably randy-most for our listeners this day.
I didn't quite catch that, sir.
Well, look out. Now, there's the Redley butto just betwixt the corn load. Does your eye load see the butto up there?
I see.
Goody good. Well, poppy your fingy on the butto there. And in a tickly boop, we get a print 'em out with an epily load title most on. Be it Deep Joy or Folly, Folly, May Miserum.
Right.
Aha! And today's a day of deeply deep joy and a setly sail voyage aboard the Stingray. Stingray. Well, that's good. We've not seen Stingray come up on the randomizer for quite a while now.
And your destination, sir?
Well, I'm very glad you asked, actually. We're taking a trip up the Nile in search of the Tajmanon. Don't worry, Marina, that one is a real word. What are you looking at me like that for? So here's another series that we haven't seen on the randomizer for... a good 6 months. Has it been on this year? I think the last one was Subterranean Sea, which I think was around December, January time. So this is our 4th Stingray randomizer, I want to say 4th. And this is the latest, the furthest along we've been in the series so far.
Anything can happen in the next half hour.
I think this is episode, is it 28, 29-ish? And this was an episode that I'd never seen until the DVDs came out, actually, I don't think. Actually, I could be wrong. You know what, I think I am wrong, actually. You'll be learning a lot today on the randomizer, hosted by the person who doesn't actually know what he's talking about. We're only 1 minute in and I'm already messing it up. Oh well. No, the reason I thought maybe I hadn't seen this one until the DVDs came out was because the first time I saw Stingray was on BBC Two, Friday nights at 6 o'clock through 1992, 3-ish. And I remember they finished in that slot with Titan Goes Pop. That was the last one they showed. And this, I think, is probably like the episode before.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what the Tajmanon looked like nearly 40 years ago.
So either I saw it and forgot all about it, or I just...
hundreds and hundreds of slaves.
That's right, Lieutenant Shore. Your knowledge surprises me.
You being a woman and all. This is Stingray, remember?
Location of the Tajmanon.
So we have here Professor...
in this area. And the World Development
Professor David Graham.
Dam the river you see running through.
He's built a nice little model of a sunken temple.
Is the dam.
That's the dam.
I'd like you to see a film of the first survey.
This is all very interesting, but you do know there are hostile underwater aliens that might come and nuke us at any moment.
Check.
Surely the commander of Marineville has better things to do than look at...
Now here's the flooded area.
Somebody's home.
Tajmanon is submerged here.
There's the temple model underwater. And of course, it's not really underwater. We've just put a fish tank in front of it.
Professor, isn't that the sheik whose family claimed they owned the Tajmanon?
Yeah, Abdul El Hamra.
This is a clip of the professor and the sheik shaking hands for what seems like an eternity. They're just standing there for about 20 seconds, shaking.
Taken just 2 months ago.
Very awkward moment for the professor, it must have been.
Guarantee it'll also give you a shark. Now, watch closely.
Oh, no, sorry, that's the wrong film.
It's gone. The Tajmanon has vanished.
I suppose that's an effective hook, but it's
Troy, this is how Stingray figures.
Far more interesting to actually have our characters out there finding out these things for real rather than sitting around watching old films.
Prepared for tropical duty. You leave in search of the Tajmanon.
There's the title.
She's in as good a shape as she'll ever be. All set for dawn tomorrow.
Phone sounds actually surprised by that.
She seems to know more about the Tajmanon.
It's also very grubby.
Well, she's going to ask the commander. She told me that.
With Marina on leave, we could do with the help.
Marina's on leave? Oh, no Marina this week. Which seemed to be a common theme in later episodes of Stingray. She was just either not around or hardly had anything to do. I wonder where she went on leave. Did she go back to see her father, or is she on a world tour?
Well, we're kind of short-staffed right now, Atlanta. But taking it by and large, I guess we can spare you.
Oh, Father.
I do love the
Sorry about the teasing. And my
relationship between Shaw and Atlanta.
All forgiven, Father.
And why don't
It's a father and daughter thing, but it also it is a commanding officer and a subordinate. They are working together, and there is that moment of he in the control tower where he's snapping at her, but equally at home he's very warm and tender to her. That's a lovely scene. I'm not quite sure why Troy and the Phones felt that they needed to hide in the Shaw's house while Atlanta cooked a nice steak dinner for the commander. It's slightly weird. Oh, this is lovely. Just put the little sort of Egyptian-y sounding music on here. Nice little tent on Stingray's hull.
Hey, this is great.
Pyramids.
Guess I should go and relieve Phone so he can take a look.
Watch out for lost tribes hiding underneath the pyramids.
Sure do. Go ahead.
No, such a thing would never
In
happen.
about 15 minutes.
I really love... Obviously, I love the design of Stingray. Everyone loves the design of Stingray. But I think this shot of Stingray cruising down the Nile with the sort of, I don't know, table and chairs set up for Atlanta and the Professor, I think this is the largest Stingray model. And it's just beautiful up close.
Manon Dam.
That's why I really hope we get Stingray on Blu-ray sooner rather than later, because there are some lovely images in this show, and it would be wonderful to see them as they really should have been seen.
To the near side bank. We'll take you from there.
And considering this is our, I think, 4th episode of Stingray on the Randomizer, this is the 2nd time now where we've had Stingray having to be transported over land. And I get that, obviously, in real life, you know, a submarine can't go everywhere. But it does slow the story down a bit.
That do you?
Yeah, thanks for the lift.
To have it hoisted out of the water and dumped on a truck and then driven out somewhere. I suppose, really, there's no reason why we can't just chop all this entirely. Because aside from anything else, it just looks kind of weird seeing Stingray, this, you know, mighty sub, just being sort of dragged along like a useless piece of freight. Oh, and here's another crane ready to drop it back in the water. At least they didn't have as far to go as they did in Loch Ness Monster the last time this happened. Just been carried to the other side of the dam.
We'll radio in our findings.
I'll keep a full recording, Troy.
And as much as this is not a favourite episode of mine, by any means, it's not the worst. I would say it's just sort of okay-ish. I do like that it's a nice change of pace.
There's still some smaller buildings here, Troy.
Because as I said, I think this is episode 28, 29-ish. And by this point we've had a lot of, here are 2 alien bad guys on their submarine blowing stuff up. Let's shoot them. That was very often, I suppose that's kind of the basic Stingray plot. Here are some naughty aliens and we're going to sort them out. Having a nice mystery like this stick of dynamite right here, that's on the site where Troy and the Professor are investigating, it's a nice change of pace, and I think they didn't overdo this sort of underwater expedition-y type story. I think they probably did just about the right number of stories like this.
See explosions.
Troy! Troy!
Oh, and big explosion at the site of the missing temple.
That should make the secret of the Taj Mahal safe with me. Forever.
Troy is dead, said nobody out there ever. And this shot of Marineville at night time, I kind of like. I think I kind of like it. It's just this very awkward moment as the camera pushes through the model. It catches on the bottom left of the frame. It catches a tree, and clearly pushes the tree over. It's one of those things where once you've seen it, you're never gonna not notice it. You just think, oh, if they'd gone back and just moved that tree an inch to the left and redone the shot,
We were both very lucky. If we hadn't moved out of that spot when we did, well, I don't have to tell you.
What caused it?
So the Professor has escaped with Troy with only a bump on the head from having been blown up.
Any damage or injury from the explosion, Lieutenant?
Captain Tempest said everything was in great shape.
Okay.
And he was as handsome as ever. stock footage of giraffes. Stock footage of hippos. Oh, I think this must be the same reel of stock footage as they used at the start of Pit of Peril to create that jungle. And to be honest, I'm not convinced that it ever really works all that well.
Sure is. But it's got its ugly side. Crocodiles.
Or stock footage of crocodiles, anyway.
You on deck, Phones?
Give it a year, they'll be bringing in real live alligators, then you'll know all about it. But yeah, the stock footage, coupled with the slightly dodgy rear projection, back projection, I can never tell which is which, on those shots of the puppets reacting to what they're seeing.
I thought it would be noisier than this in the jungle, Professor.
It makes it a bit more artificial than maybe it ideally should be.
That very problem.
Drums.
That proves we are being watched.
Or it could just mean you're approaching Marineville and that's the sound of battle stations. They've just gone round in a great big circle.
I think the tribe we're looking for is somewhere around here.
Okay.
Brilliant deduction. That people who were making the drum noises that you can hear might be near here. See, that's why he's a professor. And Troy and Phones look very casual in this episode with their, what look like sort of safari suit variants of their wasp uniforms. Except they've still got their regular caps and boots on.
Who's there?
And Phones has been left on guard, all alone.
Who's there?
While the others catch some sleep. And he's wandered off by himself. I think we know where this is going. Okay, place your bets. Is he going to get out of this in one piece, return to Stingray? Is he going to fall down a great big hole? Is he going to be grabbed by some unseen evildoer? Is he going to plod along slowly? Slightly out of focus. Although this is a nice shot of the camera sneaking up behind him, and then he hears it, turns, and the camera just sort of rams into him and he falls over backwards.
Bones!
That's a shot I think
No sign of him, Troy.
works, but also doesn't work.
He seems to have disappeared.
But I'll always give them points for trying in these shows, even when it doesn't quite come off, because that was very some very interesting direction there.
Any circumstances. We'll go and have a look around for Phones.
I suppose also this episode is kind of unique in that, although it's not the only time Stingray is used as part of like an expedition or an investigation,
let's try down there.
They never really get the chance to sneak around on land in like sinister, moody-looking jungles at night like they are here, because obviously it's
some kind of house
show based around a submarine.
No sign of life.
So this is a nice change of pace.
Come on, as quiet as you can.
Well, this proves the Professor's right. We found the tribe, or at least where one of them lives. Did you hear that?
He's found you.
Stay here.
Stay all alone in the headhunter's hut. It's best. Also, having all these trees and foliage around is masking the fact that the puppets walking is not terribly convincing, as it never was in the Stingray era, or probably indeed even in any of the Supermarination eras. But a nice bit of a nice clever bit of direction there, where Atlanta has approached the doorway of the hut from the inside. Obviously she can't get under the doorway because of her strings. Cut to a shot of the forest, cut back to Atlanta, and she's now in front of the house.
Where are you?
Crouching as if she's just come out the door. Obviously that was probably not the best thing to do, because she has now also been captured, leaving the Professor...
I'm sure Troy didn't mean I should stay here this long.
all alone on Stingray.
Troy? Phones? Atlanta?
Oink!
Hello?
And now the Professor has fallen into a great big hole.
Welcome to the Taj Mahal. Unfortunately, your first sight of it will be your last.
Oh, they've woken up in a bed of, well, it's one of those things, you know, they've woken up with a great big,
to destroy this palace by water.
concrete slab covered in spikes that's going to come down and crush them.
Here again, to make sure it is destroyed. The destruction will be yours.
He's a very clever chap to knock out all 3 of the Wasp officers. Dragging them all back one by one, he must have made very quick trips. And this is a nice set of the interior of the Tajmanon Palace.
Get me out of here, somebody! Please! Out of where? Hello! Hassan El-Hamra. That is my name. Who are you? Professor Graham. Graham?
As in David Graham? As in the guy who's doing both of our voices?
Of course.
Yeah, this is another moment, yet another moment of David Graham having a conversation with himself. And doing a very credible job.
Get me out of here!
I'd love to know how many times that happened. It's got to be getting on for about 40 or 50 throughout the course of all these shows. Anyway, the Sheik, who had captured Troy and Phones and Atlanta, and the Professor, has now realised that this is the
father often spoke of you.
The same Professor who came and visited his father and had a long, awkward handshake all those years ago.
The palace is here. I got some undersea equipment, and together with an African tribe, every stone was brought here, and the palace was rebuilt.
Yeah, you just say you had the help of an African tribe who we never see. We just see this one guy.
Look!
Oh, yeah, I can see how he'd missed the great big temple right behind him. And he's also, the Sheik's son has also completely forgotten, oh yeah, I'm about to skewer 3 innocent people.
2 men? And a young lady? Yeah, have you seen them? Seen them? I think I've killed them.
Whoops. Oh, I love that bit. Because this is a good... Supposedly, this is a good guy, but he's also quite prepared to skewer our heroes. Anyway, he's now charging back through the forest with Professor Graham. Again, we've got the foliage sort of masking their feet. Close-ups of them bouncing up and down. It's so sweet. And it is odd that the day is going to be saved not by our heroes, but by a guest character, because our heroes are just sort of tied up and about to be killed. Luckily, the Sheik's son and the Professor, they got there just in time. And, we're back to Marineville. Troy and Phones aren't apparently going to mention the, oh, by the way, you tied us up and tried to kill us, you idiot, thing.
You've seen the film of my most recent survey, the Taj Mahal in its new setting.
Well, I guess the mystery has been solved.
Hey, look, there's Hassan.
Hello everybody. Yes, I tried to kill you all.
He wasn't such a bad fella after all.
He tried to kill you.
You got to know him.
Cute presents he gives, too. If that mummy case is anything to go by.
Just another souvenir, Commander, from another Wasp adventure.
Okay, so he gave them the bed with the slab of nails in that was the thing that almost killed them. Well, you can't say he doesn't have a sense of humour. Anyway, that was In Search of the Tajmanon. It's, as I said, it's never been one of my favourites. It is a nice change of pace, and I think in production order, it probably comes at about the right time in the series. It does feel very different to episodes that aired around the same time. Or episodes that were made around the same time, because the airing order on this was just chuck them all up in the air and whichever ones land first, that's what we show first. So a nice change of setting as well. This jungle setting and the temple and such. I think it's a worthwhile effort to get the series out of a rut. I don't really find it all that interesting, to be honest. I like that our guest character, Professor Graham, got to save the day, but it does make the Stingray crew kind of look a bit dopey. So In Search of the Taj Mahal, not one I'm willing to go in search of again anytime soon, but it's okay.
Oh, I love a bit of Stingray.
Oh, we all love a bit of Stingray, yeah.
Yeah. So, In Search of the Taj Mahal. Interesting one.
Well, isn't that the curry house we went to with Lee Sullivan in Leicester?
Oh, the one where he put the melon and orange in his mouth. And
That's right. That was the Taj Mahal, wasn't it?
I think it probably was, yeah.
Well, we found it then. Call off the search.
Yeah, well, I'll let Troy and Phones know. I did actually have a watch of this episode fairly recently, and it's got some lovely bits of model work in there, but some very strange moments. There's a bit where they're heading down a river, and Atlanta is on the deck. They've got this sort of tarpaulin thing set up on the deck, I think, as Chris mentioned.
Yeah.
And they're sat out on the top deck of Stingray. Just behind them, behind the big sheets of glass, Phones is there, driving away. And Atlanta's on the deck and saying, "Oh, Troy, look at the pyramids and stuff. Wow. Oh, if only Phones could see this." He's sat behind a sheet of glass. He can see it. And then Troy comes in and goes, "Phones, you've got to get out here and look at this. I'll take over."
I can see it from here, thanks.
There's a
I'm
great
all right.
big sheet of glass in front of me. What are you on about? So there's some really funny little moments in there. But mostly, David Graham talking to himself, playing multiple characters.
Yeah,
what a
well, that's the
talent
thing.
to be able to do
absolutely.
that.
Yeah, that's right. And do you think they did it in sort of, cuts and takes, or do you think he just did it?
I can picture him. I mean, I've seen him talking to himself before because he did it in a Doctor Who for me.
Right.
Generally, but
he
literally just takes a breath and slightly changes his position. He drops his head, or he rolls his shoulders, or he turns one way or the other. And you can see him switching between characters. It's amazing to watch. A real clever chap.
Yeah, amazing.
So there we go.
Very clever.
But
nice.
No oink, thankfully.
No oink this time. Thanks, Chris, for that. Another great randomizer. How lovely.
They always
look forward to next week's. Yeah, absolutely.
It does actually make me want to go and watch Stingray, because there's something really cute and innocent about Stingray. It was Fireball and Stingray and Supercar all have that kind of naive early 60s kids show vibe to them, although they look fantastic. So I might go and watch some Stingray.
Yeah, good. That's your day sorted then.
Well, I should probably do some work as well, but yes, it is my day sorted. So thanks for that, Chris. Much appreciated. If you're rediscovering Stingray through the randomizer, let us know. podcast@gerryanderson.co.uk. In fact, if you've discovered or rediscovered anything through there, let us know. And if you don't know every single Gerry Anderson series, remember that we're releasing our primers every single week on the Gerry Anderson YouTube channel, where even if you do know the series, you still might learn stuff. So go over there and have a look.
Great, look forward to those. And also, don't forget that Fab Live is coming up on the 5th of August, which will be next week, I think, once this episode appears.
So mine or yours, Richard?
We don't really know. What's easiest for you?
I'll look in the diary, but I can come to you.
Yeah. Okay, we could do that. Yeah, fine. All right, we'll sort that out. So do join us on Monday, the 5th of August at 7 p.m. on Facebook and Twitch and Periscope and YouTube, if we're lucky. Yes, for our live broadcast. And do send us in any pictures or jokes or comments or reviews that you'd like us to read out or show to fablive@gerryanderson.co.uk. And we'll do our best to show them. And you can comment and join in the fun.
Yeah.
I say fun.
You can join in.
Yeah.
Right, so next time is Pod 60, Richard.
Yes, right. That's
is
our...
that Ruby?
I think it might be, yeah.
Ruby Podiversary?
Or is it... No, hang on. Isn't it... Is it Ruby? I thought Ruby was 40.
Oh, I don't know. We'll have to work it out for next time.
I think it might be Pearl or something.
We'll have to work out what gift we're getting each other.
Yeah, we will. Yes, right.
Okay, so yes, please make sure you're subscribed. Do rate and review us. We'd love a rating, and we'd love a review even more. We've had a few more this week, which they continue to trickle in, which is really lovely.
Great. Yeah, that is nice.
And until next week, have a lovely time, and we'll speak to you then.
Speak to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Stage 1 complete.
Let's go.
Spectrum is green.
There. Now, I'm just Googling, Jamie, because I want to find out what the 60th anniversary is.
Would you
Anniversaries. Right, here we go. Because obviously we know that 25 is silver and 50 is gold. Here we are. What are the anniversary gifts for each year? Crikey. Well, did you know, for example, that 1 year anniversary is paper?
Yeah.
The 9th is pottery.
Right.
Now I'm just pressed more items. So bear with me. Traditional anniversary gift ideas. Guaranteed to delight. Right, let's have a look. Scrolling down. I'm on my iPad, so it's terribly slow. Do come along. All right, I'm just scrolling past the Squarespace website adverts and the adverts for wedding photography. No, don't want any of that unless we're going to get married, Jamie.
This titles bit is going well, isn't it, Richard?
It's what, sorry? Oh, Charlotte can hear me because I've got the windows open. She's out in the front garden. So 60th is diamond, is it? Yeah. Jamie, we've got to buy each other some diamonds.
Right, okay. I'll have
pair of cufflinks.
I'll have to investigate
nice
that.
Little brooch. I'll have to dig out a tiara.
Yes, I think I'd look great in that.
Now that is a great look for our little pre-podcast photograph, isn't it?
Okay, fine. We'll have to go for something diamond related for that.
Perfect. See you
right,
then.
I look forward to our 60th.
Yeah, be fun.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
You have been listening to the Gerry Anderson Podcast. Wasn't it fun?